Atlanta News First noticed passengers waiting for flights. They were sleeping on the floor at Atlanta's airport. Atlanta News First reporter Adam Murphy is live from Hartsfield-Jackson International tonight. And Adam, some families, they are stuck there, and FAA workers, they still are not getting paid.
There is good reason to pack your patience if you're traveling through Atlanta's airport this week, but for many, their patience is long gone.
The minute I stepped off the plane in Atlanta, they said, "We are so sorry. Your flight to Charlottesville is not only delayed, it's gone."
On Monday, Hartsfield-Jackson reported more than 230 canceled flights and more than 450 delayed. Air traffic controllers have not been paid during the 41-day shutdown. And the president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association said no American should be forced to work without a paycheck.
The added stress leads to fatigue. The fatigue has led to the erosion of safety and the increased risk every day that this shutdown drags on.
President Donald Trump also weighed in on the issue on Monday on social media, saying he will recommend a $10,000 bonus for air traffic controllers who did not take off work during the shutdown.
Again, air traffic controllers should not be the political pawn during a government shutdown.
Meanwhile, travelers are growing more and more frustrated themselves as flights continue to come off the board.
Just today we woke up with about an hour and 20 minutes of delay. Just a bummer, but just hope it doesn't get canceled or anything like that.
I will not be flying anywhere for Thanksgiving. Trust me. We will be having Thanksgiving at my home in Virginia.
And flight reductions increase from 4% to 6% tomorrow, so you can expect there to be many more delays and cancellations before things get better. Definitely the frustration beginning to boil over here at the world's busiest airport. Live at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, Adam Murphy, Atlanta News First.